Welcome, you join us here today at Woodland Waters in Ancaster, a place that I haven't been to for years. This is somewhere that I used to come when I was really young, just getting into fishing, and I'm really excited today. So what's the plan?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful venue, Woodland Waters. It's actually a caravan sort of park. There's a few lakes on site here, Match Lake. We've decided to come on to the Specimin Lake today, and we're going to try a hand at trying to catch one of these lovely carp on a zig. The conditions are absolutely perfect for zig fishing. You know, the sun's out. It was a cold start today, 1.5 degrees when I got in the van this morning. But I actually really rate our chance. I think we've got a good chance, to be fair.
We've seen a few, haven't we?
We have seen a few fish, yeah. So, yeah, let's get the rods out, I reckon, and see how the day unfolds.
Let's do it.
So before I start the session, I'm just getting my marker float set up, and the reason I do this really is because I don't want to be second guessing how deep the lake is out there. I want to know exactly what the depth is, so I can sort of stagger my zigs in different layers of the water. There's no point sort of feeling led down into it's roughly sort of 10, 11, 12 foot. You really need to know exactly how deep it is so you can start to work the levels of the water with your zigs. This time of year, generally, I'll probably start in the bottom third. So if I stick the float out there and I find out it's sort of 10 foot deep, I might start around 3-4 foot and go from there. So I'm just going to get this out. You only really need to do, you're not trying to find a spot out there. All you're trying to do is just gauge the depth. So you only really need one cast. So I'm just going to finish off getting this float set up, and we'll get it out there, see what the depth is. So I'm just about to see what the depth is like out there. Obviously I can feel the lead down and gauge the depth, but there's nothing more accurate than a marker float. I'm just going to feel that down on a tight line. Oh, just hit the bottom there. And then as long as I make sure that that line is nice and tight, so that float is right down where the lead is, just there, perfect. And we can start paying some line off, figuring out what depths we've got out there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 plus the stem and the float, so 14 foot. So now I've got 14 foot in mind. I know that sort of, if I'm fishing around 4 or 5 foot, that's going to be that bottom third. And if the sun comes out even more, warms up, I might just bring them up a little bit. But I think I'll start in the bottom third, fish around between 4, 5, maybe 1 on 6s, work that depth first and then go from there. So yeah, that's all you need to do. Put it out once, get the depth, and then you've sorted for the rest of your trip. Let's wind that in and get these rods out. I'm just getting around to put my first rod out. I've got my hook bait on there already, and after putting that marker float out and finding the depth, which says 14 foot, I can now work out exactly where I want to position my zig within the water column. With it being cold and a cold night last night, I think those fish are going to be a little bit further down in the water. But when you're zig fishing, it's all about trying to find that depth where those fish are comfortable at. So I'm going to start this off at about a third depth. So it's 14 foot, the whole depth in total. So I'm going to position this one about 4.5 foot, and all I do is simply take my rig board, which is a foot long, 12 inches, position my zig at one end, and then pinch the line at the other end, which is 12 inches. So you've already got 1 foot there, and then you can start peeling the line to get the exact depth you want. So we've already got 1, so that's 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to go half there, and then once you've got the depth you want, and all you have to do is simply tie an overhand figure of 8 knot, moisten that down, pull it tight, and that will attach to the quick change swivel I've got on my lead clip on the other end. It's worth noting actually that when I tie my zigs before I come on a session, I tie them all quite long. That way you can shorten them down to the depth you want, but you can't add on extra line, if you know what I mean. So I normally tie them all about 10, 12 foot, depending on where I'm fishing. and then I can cut them down from there and get the exact length of zig that I require. So snip that off, attach an anti-tangle sleeve, and that'll be ready to go. Fingers crossed we can have a fish on that.
Okay, so a couple of hours have passed, nothing's happened yet, but I've brought one of the rods in. I'm going to change the length of the zig, and I'm also going to change the colour of my hook bait. Now, I was using a black, but I am going to be changing to a yellow. Now, these are our brand new Zig Hookbaits coming out in the spring, and in the pot themselves, you get 3 different colours. You get black, red and yellow, and also this little sachet of the Northern Special liquid booster. They're super buoyant, and they're based on the Northern Special flavour blend, which works year round. And what's great with these is that they work with your traditional Zig aligners. You can use Zig screws, and you can also put them on a hair rig, so you can use them in whatever. But what I like to do is use a little pellet bander and quite simply pick out your hook bait, pop the pellet bander into your Zig aligner, slide the hook bait in, and it's as easy as that. Let's get it back out there.
So, a few hours have passed now, and the shows have quietened right off. So, I've just got a feeling the fish are probably a little bit lower down in the column. So, that one I put out earlier at 4.5 foot, I've just wound that in. And I'm going to switch it to a slightly smaller one, see if they're just a little bit lower down, see if we can't attempt to bite them. Because at the minute, we're just sort of trying to work out what exactly the fish are doing. So, I'm going to get that new zig on, douse it in a bit of halo, get it back out there, and hopefully that will do the business. Well, I was just saying to Joe, I bet any money if we were getting a bite, it was going to be just before it got dark. And we've sat out here all day, and we were literally just about to think about maybe starting to wind in, calling it a day and coming back on another day. And my middle rod, the bobbin has just hit the deck. Typical zig bite, really. They don't really tend to do much. And yeah, now we are hooked into a carp. So yeah, take my time, fingers crossed we can get this in, and it'll be a nice end to the day if we do. It's been a tricky old day, to be honest with you, but that's what these days can be like in the winter. You just have to grin and bear it and do your best to try and work out what the fish are doing. So yeah, let's try and get this in. Yes! Oh, we did it, Joe.
There we go.
There we go, mate. Joe. He's an angry little one.
He's angry, isn't he?
Yeah.
Nice one, though.
Yeah. To be fair, it's been a tricky old day, hasn't it?
It's been a tough day, yeah. It's nice to get a reward at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's part of the thing with day fishing and during the winter. The days are short, you don't have much light.
Exactly.
So you don't have a great deal of time for fishing. And we were actually just thinking about packing up and the bobbin dropped on your alarm, didn't it? And
you lose the light quick, don't you, this time of year? But
yeah,
it's worth getting out for the days, definitely. If you catch fish like this, it's been a nice way to end the day. So yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're going to come back in a couple of weeks, aren't we?
Yeah.
Have another little go. But yeah, the Zigs has certainly paid off in the end for us today. But yeah,
a little bit of time.
Still a little bit of time, yeah.
A little bit.
Probably got half an hour before it's really dark and we can't do any filming. But no, this little one has it's certainly put a smile on my face.
Yeah, saved the day, hasn't he? Bless him.
Yeah, let's get it back.
Hold on, mate.
Nice one, cheers. We are back down at Woodland Waters, myself and Joe. It's about a month after our last trip where I caught that common, and to be honest, the conditions are pretty similar to what they were last time. When I got in the van this morning, it was about 2 degrees, and if anything, the conditions today are better for zig fishing. The pressure's higher and the sun's out, so it's perfect for making the most of those zig opportunities. The days are a lot shorter now, so myself and Joe make sure we got down here a lot earlier today. We're on the gate just as it opened at 8 o'clock. And actually it's a lot quieter. You can tell it's later in the year. Going in sort of like that Christmas period now, and a lot of anglers are just hanging up the rods, but there's still bites to be had. So yeah, we're going to put the zigs to good use hopefully today and catch a few fish.
Well, if this doesn't sum up winter fishing, I don't know what does. No longer than 15 minutes ago, Alex was doing his piece to camera, the sun was out, and it's completely flipped. The weather is now, it's even colder. We've got a fog coming through the trees, it's really overcast, and it does not feel good for zig fishing whatsoever. I mean, we're still confident that we might get a bite, but this isn't the ideal situation for zig fishing. What we really wanted was that sun to be out all day, but it's not going to stop us. We have still got the rest of the day, although time is short on these day sessions. In this situation, it's quite tricky because you start to think, am I doing the right thing? Should I start chopping and changing things? And you can start making rash decisions which lead to you not fishing effectively. So I'm going to sit on my rods for a bit. I'm happy where they are. I've got 3 zigs from 4 foot up to 8 foot in different areas that we saw fish when we got here. However, there hasn't really been a great deal showing since then. So it's a little bit of one of those where we don't know what the right thing to do is. We're looking for the fish, we haven't seen anything. We need 1 or 2 to give themselves up and show us where they are so we can put the zigs on them and try and get a bite. But for now, like I say, I'm going to leave these where they are. Alex has had a bit of a rechuck closer to the island where we saw one earlier, and that's all we can do. Hopefully this sun comes back out because this is not ideal, but that's winter fishing. You've got to do what you can in the situation and the weather conditions that are presented for you. Here's what it is. But what I am going to do is get the coffee on because I'm freezing. Yeah.
We're into the afternoon now and it's about sort of just after lunch, so we've got about 3 hours left of daylight. I've moved my rods around a fair bit today already, this morning, just trying to figure out where exactly these fish are. And normally when I'm sort of zig fishing, I like to fish for liners to give their sort of presence away, but I've moved my rods about short and long, trying to fish for liners, and I've not actually had any indication. I'm still sure there's fish out in front of us here. So it's just a case of repeating the process, working the water. So I'm just going to get this middle rod in now, have a little bit of a rechuck, and maybe go a little bit longer than it was before, and just try to work out exactly where the fish are. Because when you're zig fishing, you're not just working out sort of like the depth they're sitting at, but you're also working out the range they're at in front of your peg. So yeah, just going to wind this in and get that little yellow Zig hookbait back out there. Looks a lot better now as well, actually. We had about 2 hours of sort of just solid cloud and mist and fog. It looked horrendous, but that sun's sort of trying to poke itself through again, and actually it doesn't look half bad for a bite on a zig. So confidence is back up. We just need the fish to play ball now. Well then, mate, that was a bit of an anticlimax, really, wasn't it?
God, it's been tough today.
It's been tough conditions, hasn't it?
Completely up and down. So we had sunlight in the morning,
yeah.
Then we had that thick fog, then it lifted and we had smoke from a fire, and then we had a bit of sun again, and then
yeah,
cloudy.
It's been a tough winter day session, really, hasn't it? To be fair, like I've not actually felt like we've really been in a good chance with a bite. Like no. I know we've really tried hard, haven't we, to sort of make something happen.
Yeah, we've been casting the zigs around all day long, and even on the fish that we saw, which were closer into your swim, you've put rigs on them and nothing's happened. Other than you had a couple of liners, didn't you?
Yeah.
A little rod tip movement, but nothing that says that's where they needed to be for the whole time.
It is, but it's just been a strange old session today, to be fair. Like, I know there's only one other guy on, he's not caught, and the fish out we have seen have been showing in strange places where I wouldn't really expect them to be this time of year.
Yeah,
so
they've been here, there and everywhere, haven't they?
Yeah,
You'd expect them to be huddled up.
Exactly.
But they're not, and
No.
it is really cold as well. We've had the wind change twice today. I don't know. I think the weather's just completely put them off, to be honest.
Yeah. I think we are really good when it comes to excuses as well.
We are really good when it comes to It was nothing to do with our fishing whatsoever. It was all to do with the weather and the fish.
It's the time of year. Like, it's not going to be easy this time of year, is it, and stuff. No. And I've had trips here where I've had a few in a day and stuff, but we have had to graph these last couple of trips, haven't we, and stuff. For one fish, but all is not lost.
It's not a blank at the end of the day. Overall.
No, it's not an overall blank.
Overall, but
yeah. Anyway, to drown our sorrows, I thought we'd do a nice little giveaway. What we got here, Joe?
We've got our brand new Zig Hookbaits. They're coming out next year, and we're going to give a couple of these pots away.
I think we'll give 5 pots away.
5 pots. Oh, look at that, a bit of generosity.
And what I want to know is drop a comment below. Just let us know how your fishing's been the last couple of months over winter. Like, and we'll choose a couple of winners from those 5 comments. But yeah, this session's not been the easiest, but
no,
that's fishing.
No.
Like, let us know how you've been getting on. Let us know if you've been blanking, catching. I picked 5 winners, and 5 of you guys can win these awesome new hook baits that are coming out in March. So, what are we going to do? Hit the road?
I think it's about time. We're going to lose the light very soon, so
get the rods in.
Get the rods in. Get gone.
Always next time, eh?
Next time.